Disclaimer: this fictional serial will contain mature subject matters, including but not limited to the subject of drug use. This story does not seek to glorify addiction or drug use. It is a horror story that, like many such fictional material, explores dark themes. The Crimson Hound is meant to be a flawed anti-hero, and the viewer is not meant to agree with everything he does. Also keep in mind that in a serialized format, the whole story will be told over many episodes, so one single episode will not be a good representation of the completed story. Feedback is always welcome in the comments.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, as he leads the kid out, he's actually gonna stumble a bit, like kind of close to Vigilary, almost to get this. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna work, but this reaction, like, "Hey, get out, get away! We're trying to see what's going on." So they mentally dismiss me.
All right.
Reverse psychology is
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead and make let's just do a charisma check.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's a 50% chance right there.
Huh.
It's a red card. Okay, 17.
17. Okay, and your charisma is what? You said 10.
10. So there's no. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, that's bad. I went over. Oh my god.
Yeah.
For this, red card is bad. Oh my god.
All right. So you have drawn some attention. So you come out, and you get the impression that the officers right there do not immediately recognize you as the person that they're trying to track down, but they do stop you. So you basically just walk out the door and kind of try to shove past, and the Vigilary like puts his arm across your chest, and he's like, "No one leaves the building. We formed a perimeter. Stay inside, citizen."
But sir, Zan is looking for his mom, and this building has a lot of bad people. You know, I just want to lead the kid to safety.
He says, "You'll probably be safer in there for the moment. Things might get hairy."
So they might get hairy in there, and you want us to stay in there? Look,
no, out here.
Oh my god! Look, I have like 1 gold piece left. I don't mind. Some friends are gonna give me booze anyway. Can we just,
All right, a gold piece. I think that's a reasonable bribe for one of these guys. So go ahead and make another charisma check. Let's see if he takes you up on it.
Yeah. It's 13. That's a red again.
So he says, bribing a Vigilary is a major offense.
I never said anything. I just said I was carrying a gold piece. Anyway, what do you want us to do again? I'm very drunk. I'm sorry.
He says, go back inside. Go to sleep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Zan, I'm sorry. You'll have to see your mom later.
All right. You can hear the other Vigilary that's standing there on his shoulder-mounted radio. You can hear them chattering, and it says, something along the lines of we've lost visuals on the target, still somewhere inside building 624, which is presumably the building that you're in, and issuing orders and whatnot. So it looks like for the moment that you've flummoxed them, at least.
Okay, so I have to go back inside with Zan.
Now there are likely other exits that are down here, although from the look of it, they probably have them all the main, the actual exits cordoned off. But there's that this whole area, there's a deep series of tunnels and whatnot that are under the whole city, and often these apartment buildings will have substructures and basements and stuff that are tied into these various tunnel networks and stuff. So that's also a possibility.
Okay, so I am actually gonna ask Zan. Little Zan, tell me one thing. Where would I go if I wanted to reach the tunnels?
He says, he's like, the tunnels, well, there's I'll show you. He says, down in the basement.
Amazing.
All right, so he takes you not to the stairs that you were just on, but to kind of across the lobby, and there's like an ancient looking service elevator shaft, but there's no elevator in it. It's just there's no doors. It's just an empty shaft, and he climbs in, and there's a a service ladder, and he starts climbing down as if he's done this before, and is not worried about there being a working elevator in the shaft or anything. So he starts climbing down, assuming you follow him.
Yeah, and I'll just mention real quick, my character does have infravision, so I don't know what the lighting is like, but I don't know if Zan's blind because he's used to it, or if there's a bit of light. But
okay, great. So as you get down there, there's well, let's see. You climb down for a pretty good distance until you hit the bottom. Which empties out into this large kind of concrete slab basement. There's columns that are supporting the rest of the building that go here and there. And you can see, like, across the way, there's another kind of, there's like it almost looks like a pedestal coming out of the floor, but it looks like it's some kind of access hatch, maybe to tunnels and stuff that are lower than that. But as you kind of step into this chamber with these columns, you can see that in your infravision, the perimeters of this room, the perimeter of the room rather, is kind of like crawling with very large rats. And these are the kind of rats that are not uncommon in the city in general, but they're like ridiculously aggressive and whatnot for rats. And they're about a dozen of them or so that you can see in your thermal vision, kind of scurrying around the edges.
Zan, have you been down here before? And at this point, I'm kind of almost forgetting to act drunk because I am somewhat concerned for a kid if they're like big rats. So I ask him like very clearly.
He says, I only went down the hatch once. He's like, there's rats down here.
Yeah, go back up. It's okay. Thank you, Zan. And I give him a gold piece.
Okay. He's like, but what about my mom's shop?
Zan, this is not the way to go to your mom's shop. I'm telling you.
He's okay. Let's see. Go ahead and make a charisma roll. Yeah,
okay.
That's the best thing. Yeah.
That's a 2, an actual
right.
2. Got it. Wow.
All right. So when you produce the gold piece, his eyes kind of light up, and he's like, Mom will figure out where I'm at. And he's like, thanks, mister. And he proceeds to climb back up the elevator shaft.
So even though like the hound is kind of like pissed at this point. Like he's smelling like brews. He's wearing some old dude's clothes that are probably smelly. He's being chased by the mortal law enforcement, which he doesn't care about, and he's just like in a really bad mood. And some woman is dead. They're trying to set him up. He himself recorded something he doesn't remember, or someone recorded someone took his goggles and recorded and then put him back on him. Either one, or hacked into it. I don't know. Like he's just in a really bad mood. Doesn't know what's going on. Takes out his short sword and like, I'm begging you rats to come mess with me, and just starts walking forward.
All right. Well, almost in direct response, as he walks across the room, the rats kind of begin sniffing in their ratty ways and realizing that there's a protein mass walking across the center of the chamber, and they start to you hear some skittering, and in your infrared you can see they're kind of gathering up, and you get about halfway to the access hatch thing when they start to run over and start kind of swarming at you.
Okay.
So we should roll initiative here. So yeah. I guess this is another house rule. I think I'm not sure how initiative works in
however you do it. That's the
how I like to do it is each round you just roll a d6, and on a high roll that means you go first, and on a low roll, that means the opponent goes first. So sometimes on consecutive rounds, you could basically go twice, or your opponents could. It gives it a nice kind of swing to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead and roll that.
Yeah. I also mention right now, I don't know if this is gonna be pertinent. I don't know how big the rats are, but I do have a thing called combat machine. So when I'm facing opponents that are 1-hit die or less,
Mhm.
I can have extra attacks up to my level. So that means that if the rats are 1-hit die or less, I can have 2 attacks per round.
Okay, perfect. Yep. Yeah, these rats, they look like they're definitely 1-hit die or less, but they're like the size of, they're huge for rats, but they're still relatively small. They're like the size of house cats.
Yeah, I guess be careful what you wish for. Huh?
Yeah.
I have 2 on my d6.
Okay, so that means that the rats are going to go first.
Okay.
So at the moment, there are 4 of them that kind of swarm around you. And you said your AC was 14, is that right?
13.
13, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I wish it was 14. That's for people who can buy fancy armor.
All right, so of the rats, only 1 managed to successfully bite you, and it does 1 point of damage. Unless you want to spend your juice to slow-mo dodge the rat biting. That seems like that seems like a waste. Yeah. So
on HP.
Yeah.
So I guess the rat nips me at the ankle or something.
Yeah. They just skirt around you and start, biting at you and whatnot. And it's, you don't feel in mortal danger, but they're definitely, it's not good to get bit by these things. So what is your move?
Well, since they are, now they tasted my blood though. They might get a bit excited. So my first move will be to make at least one of them bleed for my next. So my first move will be to make at least one of them bleed. So, okay, I'm gonna tell you my idea. I don't know if I can do that as I attack or if it has to be its own round. But given that he's half undead, animals often have like this sense to things. The Crimson Hound is going to want to hiss bearing his fangs, like just hiss at them, kind of maybe to elicit an instinctive reaction. I'm thinking out loud now that he's bleeding, it might be a bit more difficult, but maybe if he cuts one of the rats, they might want to go for that instead. Or maybe it doesn't matter at all, they're just going to go for it because they will eat whatever, I don't know. Yeah, would that be its own round, or can I do that as I attack, or?
Let's see, well, go ahead and I'll call that a strength roll. It's basically an intimidation check. So try a strength roll, and we'll see what happens based on that.
Okay. So that's 17 again, and my strength is 17.
Okay, perfect. All right, so you kind of
shuffle my cards a bit here.
All right, so you hiss in kind of a feral manner, and sure enough, the rats, it doesn't totally scare them away, but they kind of, they skitter back from you a ways. They give you a little bit of a berth, and it looks like they're incredibly, obviously they're incredibly aggressive as far as rats go. They're not just straight up fleeing, but they're kind of, it looks like they're reassessing attacking you.
Okay. Does one of them stay just a bit too close to me, just within short sword range?
Oh, sure. All of them would be close enough, even if you wanted to.
I think I have to make an example of one of them. Is what I have to do. So did I use my round for that strength?
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay. I think make an example of one of them or two will get the point across to him. Maybe, I'm hoping.
Cool.
Maybe I'll get him pissed off. I don't know. Let's try it. So that's a 2.
All right. So yeah, you kind of I guess you're using your sword.
Yeah, I would have 2 attacks though. So I have the I'm using short sword. I kind of like to, if any of them are too close to my feet, I kind of like swipe.
Okay.
I mean, it's a short sword. I'll have to bend down a bit, but
Sure.
Let's see, and the other one. That's a 3. Wow. Okay, I'm really bad at shuffling cards, so I missed both.
All right, so you're kind of, you're swinging your sword at them, just kind of fending them off more than
Yeah.
anything. But they do seem to be held at bay, at least for the moment. All right, so what are you going to do?
Well, I'm gonna advance, of course. I suspect I don't know if they'll be following me, but I'm just gonna advance. So I'm gonna keep my sword ready, and we'll just advance. Yeah.
Okay, well, you get to the access hatch, and it looks like there's the rats are still kind of scurrying around. They're definitely agitated, but they're not, and they're kind of, as you climb up on the pedestal or the casing of the access hatch, they're kind of in little swarms here and there, kind of that make little lurches towards you, but they're kind of going back and forth, assessing the situation. And when you get up there, there's a heavy, like an iron hatch on this thing, and but it doesn't. It's rusty and crappy and old, and it doesn't look like it's been open for a long time. But it looks like someone of your strength, you could probably pop it off.
Do I need to make a check for that, or it's just given enough time to do it?
No. You don't need to make a check to take it off.
Okay, very well. So obviously I'll open. That's where I'm heading.
Okay. So when you do that, go ahead and let's make this a save versus poison.
Oh, okay. So so sorry. Okay, so that's a 10.
Okay.
So, and I got 19.
Okay.
I'm good. Yeah, so oh my god, I'm getting confused with the saving throws and ability checks, and that's a good. Okay, this is good.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the thing with using ability checks, that you gotta go back and forth between high and low. Yeah. But anyway, so you open it up, and there's this rush of just some kind of foul smelling air, like maybe there's some kind of gas leak or something like that that's accumulated up under this hatch. But you get a momentary kind of whiff of it, and you get a little bit kind of teary-eyed about it, just the physical effects of it, but it doesn't hurt you or anything. And you also get the sense that, like, opening this up, it kind of has released this pocket of whatever this was into the room. So it should be relatively safe to go down. Well, if not safe, at least not immediately deadly.
Does it have the effect of making the rats go away? Do they smell that and go like, oh, never mind this?
It doesn't seem to really affect them, no.
Okay. If I look at the hatch, would going down there make me vulnerable to them jumping on my face?
It looks like the rats would. It's kind of the way I picture the the hatch is that it's up on kind of like a casing, or like a kind of a shroud that's almost like a pedestal, and so it's actually a little bit. They probably could jump up there, but it would be difficult for them to. So it's unlikely that they would follow you down this particular
behind me anyway.
Rabbit hole. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go down there, close the hatch behind me just to make sure.
Okay.
And
there's like a rusty ladder that leads down.
Perfect. So I start going down.
Okay, so you climb down about 20 feet or so, and you find yourself in a very, very old, basically a subway station. It's like the underground rail station, but it's it looks like at one point, maybe the different habitation blocks on this street had like underground access from these kind of subway stations, but it looks like it's been unused for decades, and so it's totally dark down here. In your infravision, you can see that around the perimeters of the area there are more rats kind of lurking here or there, but they don't immediately like leap out or anything like that. So essentially it's like a small what you've come down into is kind of like a small subway station. So there's a little bit of a platform, and then you've got the tunnel and the rails in the middle of it, and that's what you can currently see. It goes, you could go left or right in the tunnel itself.
Okay. Okay, so I'm thinking I want to reassess now because it's the first, ever since he woke up all groggy and messed up, it's the first moment that the Crimson Hound has had to assess things.
Indeed, you've had a hell of a morning, yeah.
It's been a pretty crazy morning for him.
Yep.
Okay, so he's actually gonna take a moment to try to remember what's his last memory.
Okay. Yeah. So you're trying to fight through the haze of the previous evening, and man, it's difficult. It's you never have even quite experienced anything quite like this before, where you have this feeling like all these memories of the previous night are kind of right on the tip of your mind, but won't fully come to the forefront, which almost makes you suspect that there's something, unusual or possibly even supernatural about what's affecting you, but you can't be sure. Mm-hmm. You do remember a name comes into your head, and it's Julesy. You're almost certain that the woman that was in your video was called Julesy, and you remember that you kind of vaguely remember meeting her and hanging out with her the previous night. And I'll say that, as you're sitting there trying to get your bearings and whatnot, maybe you flick over the video from the night before again or something like that.
That was the next thing I wanted to do, was to maybe have a moment to look at it a bit better, because there's only one moment, but if he has time to analyze it, maybe he can see other things in that club or whatever.
Sure. Okay, so yeah, you get a moment to kind of take it all in, and it's really not much there. The vibe in the video is kind of playful. Again, this woman who you seem to remember her name being Julesy is kind of flirtatiously dancing. It seems like for whoever's holding the camera to kind of record. And you notice that there's not really much to it. It's like I said, some kind of club environment. There's like it's dark. There's neon lighting and stuff. But you notice that as she's sitting there dancing, there's like a little circular table next to her, and there is there's like a matchbook on the table, and you kind of enhance it in your goggles or whatever, and you can see that the matchbook has a logo on it that says Crab Apple Pub. It's got like an apple with a crab taking a bite out of it, we'll say.
Okay. Well, I basically have a computer on my face, so I'm gonna look up the place online. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, it's actually within like 3 blocks of your current like GPS location.
So because I'm in full getup, that tells me that, the chances are that the Crimson Hound was actually going there in costume, full blast, going in. Although, the woman was kind of flirtatious. Well, I guess a weirdo coming in with that getup might attract some people. It depends. So I'm trying to decide whether I was going there kind of like looking like a civilian, or if I was in my full getup. I think full getup, because that's how I woke up. So that's what I must have been wearing. So I'm just gonna go for it. At this point, he's also very, very angry. He's a violent man. He's just gonna like take off the the dirty clothes and all that, and just like set the goggle to the domino mask, because the screen can show different things. It can be cool, like shades, or so he sets it to the domino mask.
That's cool.
And yeah, he's just gonna go like there. He's just gonna go through the entrance. Obviously, he's gotta be mindful just in case there's vigilante around. But at this point, I don't think they would be there. But he's gonna keep an eye just in case.
Okay, so you're basically trying to you're going through the tunnels to try to find a way back up to the surface level?
Yes.
Okay. Great. All right. So you wander for a little bit, in the underground there, but it doesn't take too long before you find another potential entrance to the street. There's like a ladder up to like a manhole cover in some alley, pretty inconspicuous. And so you come up out of there, and we'll kind of screen wipe to you showing up at the Crabapple pub. As you're walking to get to the pub, you notice that here and there are vid screens. In this part of town, I don't know what part of town your normal apartment it is, but okay, so yeah, this is in the same part of town, but it's not that close to your apartment. Like you're a little ways away from where you live, but it's the same part of town, and it's slummy, and it's here and there are vid screens that are cracked. Some of them are like half static and coming in and out, but you can see that all the ones in this general area have an alert flashing across them, and it's showing a picture of your face that was taken from apparently like the body cam of the vigilante who was shooting at you. It's like, as you were going across the way, like it's like, I'm thinking that when the vigilante discharge their weapons, like they have their cams just automatically start recording whatever they're shooting at. And so they've kind of like zoomed in on your face in that image. So you have kind of like, some kind of like, expression of like, oh shit, as you're going across the building. But yeah, you've got the goggles on. So I imagine that may help or hinder depending on what the situation is. But anyway, so you can see that they're flashing your face across this with an alert. It says, do not approach, contact vigilante immediately, extremely dangerous, etc. And you would be probably used to seeing these sorts of alerts come up. I think that this is it's probably a localized thing, so it's not like your face is being flashed around the entire city, is your guess. But at least in this district or whatever, they're trying to kind of make a curtain around it. So as you're walking to the place, are you wearing a mask? What's that?
As a quick side note, I realized in a way this might actually be a good thing, because that might make normal people leave wherever he is normally. Sure. So it's kind of like it's good and bad at the same time anyway.
Sure. Yeah, just depends who you run into. Yeah. Okay, so are you wearing basically, do you look like the image that they're flashing? Do you have your mask on as you're approaching? Okay.
My intention is to shock people, because I want a reaction out of whoever did this to me. And if I go in incognito, I'm not getting that. And I do feel, oddly enough, like time is of the essence, because I don't know if whoever would have done this will... Well, I don't know what's going on. I want to get a reaction. I want to see who reacts. If I go incognito, I don't think I'm going to get much in that way. And also, the Crimson Hound is a very impulsive person, so that's how I'm playing him. So.
Sure. Okay, another thing I was going to mention is that the points of juice that you have, you have the impression that whatever happened to you the night before is partly why you're in this kind of state where you've got this extra reserve of energy or whatever, even though you feel hazy and in terms of mental, you got kind of a mental fog going on.
Okay.
There's also something, maybe some chemical or a drug or something that is in your system that is kind of making you a little more alert than usual.
The
point was just that you can kind of still tell that you're under the effect of something that you probably were under the previous night. So go ahead.
Yeah, I want to mention, and this will be very much up to you, but the background of the Crimson Hound is he doesn't remember much of his past. Is that he used to be a soldier for some organization, and they hunted supernatural things up until the organization betrayed him and the whole team, and they brought the building down where they were. As far as he knows, he's the only one who survived, and that team they were called the Hounds, and so that's why he called himself the Crimson Hound. So what I'm thinking is, up to you. He might even have some familiarity or not, depending on what this is. He might have some familiarity to drugs that mind that kind of like make you groggy, because they would feed him blood that was tainted. That's what he realized after the fact, that once he was free, he started thinking more clearly. So his whole past is kind of like a blur. So I don't know if this would feel familiar to him, or if it's a different kind of mind numbing that he experienced in his whole life before. But
I think it's the typical mental haze of a cyberpunk noir antagonist. Okay. So yeah, it's probably not too far, or protagonist rather. But yeah, so it's probably not too far out of the realm of things he's felt before. Although it does feel, you feel like you have some manner of hangover, basically, from some drug or substance.
Okay.
Okay, so you show up at the Crabapple Pub, and it's got like kind of westerny saloon doors, and going inside, it is a currently all of the chairs and whatnot have been stacked on the tables, and there is a little kind of utility robot that's going around sweeping the floor and whatnot, and it looks like it's like half malfunctioning and coughing on whatever debris has been left there. And the place is empty except for behind the bar there is a barkeep, and it's this kind of a somewhat muscular older guy, and he's got white hair, and he's sitting there just kind of rearranging the the glasses and stuff behind the bar, cleaning things up. And aside from that, there's like a fortune device in the corner, like some kind of gambling machine. And we'll say the only other patron in the pub is currently a kind of a dingy looking guy that's over there playing the gambling machine. Mm-hmm. So what do you do?